In this video, I'll be talking about some configuration changes I'd recommend changing to the files. And I'll have another video on what settings changes I recommend making within DokuWiki. So yeah, this is just about what file changes I recommend. So if you're running it locally, you'll have this server folder. If you're running it remotely, you won't. But yeah, if you're running it locally, in the server folder in PHP, you have this PHP ini file. And I would recommend changing the time zone value to whatever time zone you use. So I'm from Australia, and you can see that Australia Adelaide is, from this link, the one that they recommend. But yeah, if you're in Antarctica and Samoa, you would put in that, right? So that's one change you can make. Another one I wrote down is maybe you want to increase, make scripts or more inefficient scripts more likely to run by increasing the max execution time and the memory limit. Maybe you make that 512, this 240, which is quite a lot longer, just so that less inefficient scripts are more likely to run. And then you can also increase the post max size, upload max file size, and max file uploads if you're adding really large files into your wiki. Like 15 megabytes isn't quite big. You maybe want 2000 megabytes, right? So yeah, that's just some recommendations I'd make. Maybe that could be 2000 mem, this could be 320, and this could be, it doesn't really matter, maybe 80 of simultaneous ones. You can tinker around with this. But yeah, I'm just letting you know that if you can't upload something or you find that it's timing out, these are some settings you might want to look into, since that will address that if you're running it locally. And for both the local and remote install, you have this conf folder in DokuWiki, and I would recommend actually getting rid of anything in this word block. It's just to stop if you basically make it so people can edit your wiki. This is just like a filter so that certain things can get through. But realistically, in most cases, you're not going to allow anyone to edit a page, and maybe some of those words you might actually use for some reason. So I wouldn't block any words unless you knew for sure that you would never use them. I'll put it that way. With the smileys, like I said, these aren't emojis, they're images. So here you can kind of specify what the user has to type in and then what image it will load if, the editor types that in. And you can create your custom ones, which I actually recommend doing, and you put the images in lib. I think images, smileys, in here. So that's where they will go. And two ones I would personally add is maybe, for example, you add this notes one or to do one from Kevin Locke. You could just copy and paste the file in as a SVG. Maybe you need to convert it with some online tool, and then you could just write in, notes, and then you would have, notes SVG, and you could use, let's say, that image just as an example, right? So I'm just saying you can have your custom smileys there. Another setting I would recommend changing is your Mime.conf file, and I'll actually provide you with one in the description. I'll have a link, and you can use the one that I'm using, and it will basically add like a whole bunch of file extensions so that file uploads are more likely to go through. And like I said, I recommend replacing the one here with the one I provide you. And like I said, that's the reason I use a more extensive one, is because I don't have any users able to upload files except for ones that are trusted. So it isn't a concern for me that users can upload really anything. through the media manager. Through the entities.conf, I'm not a big fan of this one. I would just delete it. And like I was sort of indicating in a previous video, if you want a symbol, you can always just copy and paste it in. And yeah, there's even the, or is it here? Yeah, some special characters here. There'll be, some arrows and the copyright symbol. So I don't want to automatically, when I write C, adding the copyright symbol. If you do, you can leave it or you could add more, but yeah, I personally would just get rid of that, the contents of that file. And finally, the acronyms, I would personally get rid of this too. I would just delete all this. And the reason for that is you can specify any acronyms you use in the actual text, you know what I mean? Like if you were saying, oh look, this is an access control list, you could put in brackets ACL. But yeah, the reason I don't recommend having it configured as it is, right, like that, so when you hover over it, is because there potentially could be lots of acronyms for the same thing. Like this could be an acronym for the anterior cruciate ligament, so not just access control lists. So that's my personal opinion. If your wiki is restricted in a particular domain, maybe it would be useful to have acronyms. But if it's very broad and you have all types of topics and it's not just like a technical context, then I wouldn't use these sorts of acronyms. So I would delete everything in here personally. And yeah, that's my recommendations for local configuration changes. And yeah, maybe the only other thing I didn't mention, which generally isn't a concern, is there's this htaccess file. But yeah, you can make sure that it's set up so that the user's redirected to HTTPS only. But I believe, I think it's already doing that, so that's not a real concern. So yeah, pretty short video, and like I said, I'll cover the settings within DokuWiki in the next one. This is just like what files I would recommend configuring.